Hello, my name is Ben Lovegrove, and in this video I'm going to read the CAA Safety Sense leaflet number 6, Aerodrome Sense. The leaflet has been reproduced here in video format with the permission of the CAA. To download a copy of this or any other in the series to print off or store on your device, please visit caa.co.uk/Safety Sense. Introduction. This leaflet is intended to be a reminder of good sense and consideration for others which is expected of aerodrome users. It will help you to pave the way so that your visit does not cause problems for others and is at the same time pleasant for yourself and your passengers. Before setting off, look up the aerodrome in the UK AIP, which does not include unlicensed or most government aerodromes, or in Poolies or other commercial flight guides. Check on runway lengths, displaced thresholds, location of general aviation parking areas, runway lighting, local regulations, nearby controlled airspace, noise-sensitive areas, glider launching, parachuting or other special activities, warnings, opening hours, fuel availability, etc. Also check on ATC procedures and visual reference points to save you a nasty surprise when ATC ask you to report when passing X and you have no idea where X is. Use the UK AIP and a current chart to find all the frequencies you may need. Check on the VFR charts section of the AIS website at nats-uk.ead-it.com for changes. Then check NOTAMs through the same site for updates on those and any work in progress, changes in opening hours, etc. Make sure you know how to select 25 kHz frequencies on the aircraft equipment. Safety Sense leaflet number 12 gives comprehensive advice when using unlicensed aerodromes and private strips. Leaflet 26 gives additional guidance on the use of military aerodromes. Check whether the aerodrome requires prior permission, PPR. At unlicensed aerodromes and strips, this generally needs to be obtained by telephoning beforehand. A telephone call is always useful in any case to check on local procedures and restrictions. At licensed aerodromes, permission can normally be obtained by radio. Check on this as well as operating hours. Note that you may not be allowed to land outside promulgated operating hours. Check what air traffic services are available. Air traffic controllers will provide instructions within the ATZ, but Flight Information Service officers may only give instructions on the ground, and air-to-ground communications operators can only provide information, including the aerodrome operator's instructions. If you are non-radio or there is no air traffic service at your destination, phone to get the correct procedures, as well as the runway and altimeter setting details. Know the signal square markings. There may be special procedures for helicopters or microlights. Know the procedures in the event of radio failure. Make sure you know about aerodrome lighting and markings. See Rules 56 to 60 of Rules of the Air 2007 or CAP 637, available free on the CAA website caa.co.uk. Arrival. Make sure that you have carried out field approach, including altimeter and fuel selector checks, and have identified the correct aerodrome. If an automatic terminal information service is provided, listen early, copy the details, and use the code letter in your initial call. Identify the runway in use. Beware of confusing directions by 180 degrees. Check the circuit direction. Make all turns near the aerodrome, especially inside an air traffic zone, in that direction. Identify the dead side, if there is one. Note and keep well clear of any glider launching cables and parachute drop zones. Descend outside the circuit pattern using the procedure illustrated, taken from CAP 413, and also on the standard overhead join poster available on caa.co.uk/Safety Sense, unless another procedure is published. Although called an overhead join, the pilot should normally fly around the aerodrome, keeping all of it in sight. Avoid noise-sensitive areas and keep to published circuit height. Consider using your landing lights, especially in poor visibility. Keep a good lookout, using others' radio calls to help identify all traffic joining or already in the pattern. Give way to aircraft already in the pattern. Circuit pattern. Follow the pattern illustrated unless a different procedure is published. Watch out for others who may follow the wrong pattern. Remember wake turbulence separations if the airport operates larger aeroplanes or helicopters. See Safety Sense Leaflet number 15, Wake Vortex. Note others' radio calls. Keep your own brief and unambiguous and in the correct place, calling late call if unable to do so. Know the non-radio procedure. Look out for light signals. If the controller tells you to orbit, maintain circuit height while flying turns in the circuit direction or as instructed, through 360 degrees. Allow for wind, aiming to return to the same point over the ground after every orbit. Ensure you have completed your pre-landing checks. It is easy to be distracted at an unfamiliar aerodrome. A check on finals such as reds, blues, greens may assist. Check you are aiming for the correct runway, left, right, grass, hard, and threshold, displaced. Be prepared or expect to go around, especially on the first approach to an unfamiliar runway. If you have to go around, remember to sidestep to the dead side so that you are flying parallel with the runway while able to see it, but not if other activities such as gliding, parachuting or helicopter training is taking place there. Markings in a signal square. Circuit direction right hand. Make all turns to the right near the aerodrome. Use hard surfaces only. Poor surfaces. Land or take off on runway only. Movements may be on grass. Landing prohibited. Light aircraft may operate from separate area. Land in emergency only. Glider flying. Land in this direction. Land in this direction, takeoffs may differ. Other markings visible from the air. Light aircraft takeoff and landing area. Helicopter takeoff and landing area. Tow rope dropping area. Runway or part unfit for use. Runway or part may be fit for emergency use. Taxiway or part unfit for use. Light signal meaning to aircraft in flight. Steady green. Aircraft in flight authorized to land if pilot satisfied no collision risk exists. Aircraft on aerodrome authorized to take off if pilot is satisfied no collision risk exists. Steady red. Aircraft in flight do not land. Give way to other aircraft and continue circling. Aircraft on aerodrome stop. Green flashes. Aircraft in flight return, wait for permission to land. Aircraft on aerodrome authorized to taxi if pilot is satisfied no collision risk exists. Red flashes. Aircraft in flight do not land. Aerodrome not available for landing. Aircraft on aerodrome taxi clear of landing area in use. White flashes. Aircraft in flight land at this aerodrome after receiving continuous green light. Aircraft on aerodrome return to starting point on aerodrome. After landing. On an aerodrome without marked runways, turn left after landing. Rule 14 of the Rules of the Air Regulations 2007. Taxi well clear of the runway and stop before doing your after-landing checks. Before raising the flaps, check visually that you are not about to move the undercarriage selector instead. If you are unsure of your route to the parking area, wait clear of the runway and call the tower for assistance or a follow me service. Never cross an active runway or its taxi holding position marker without permission from the controller or the FISO, or informing the air or ground communications operator. There may be more than one active runway. Keep a lookout for parallel grass runways, glider strips and tow cables, or parachuting areas, and have a good look before crossing any runway. If you are non-radio or the aerodrome has no air traffic service, have an especially good look. Look for any marshaller's signals, but remember you are still responsible for your aircraft's safety. Most common airplane marshalling signals are shown in this leaflet. A full list is at Rule 62 of the Rules of the Air Regulations 2007. When following a marshaller's instructions, reduce speed to a walking pace. Always consider the effect of your prop wash or rotor downwash on others. If you are flying a helicopter, do not land or hover near parked aeroplanes. Aeroplane marshalling signals. Meanings remain the same if bats, illuminated wands or torchlights are used. This bay. All clear. Stop. Emergency stop. Come ahead. Turn right. Turn left. Slow down. Apply brakes. Chocks inserted. Release brakes. Cut engines. Pilots. Use similar brakes and chock signals with hands in front of your face. Ready to start, raise appropriate number of fingers on one hand. Start engine. Chocks removed. Proceed. Other markings visible from the ground. Pilots report here. Circuit direction right hand. 26 runway in use. Taxi clearance required. Takeoff and landing directions may differ. Glider flying. Airfield boundary markers. Taxi holding position before runway entrance. If in doubt, stop and ask. After shutdown. Control locks are in place. Before leaving the aircraft, ensure it is parked into wind if you can't get hangarage. All the electrics are off and the magnetos are safe. Control locks are in place. Another aircraft's prop wash can be more severe than a strong wind. The parking brake is on and/or the wheels are chocked. Pitot covers, etc. are in place if you are staying for more than a couple of hours. It is locked unless aerodrome personnel ask otherwise. Remove or hide items which might be stolen. Don't leave the aircraft in the way of others and then disappear with a key in your pocket. If you are leaving your aircraft overnight or for a long time, check the weather forecast and, if necessary or in doubt, arrange for the aircraft to be tied down. If you have to walk across a busy apron, keep well clear of aircraft with engines running and keep an eye on taxiing aircraft. Take particular care to escort passengers who may be in a completely strange environment. Local rules often require a high visibility jacket. Report to the building which shows a black sea on a yellow background. Close any flight plan. Refueling. Always supervise the refueling of your aircraft because you are responsible for what goes into the tanks and how much. Jet A1 and avgas mistakes are easily made. The diesel engine types are becoming ever more popular. Ensure that earthing wires are attached before delivery begins and that the nozzle is earthed. Make sure a fire extinguisher is available. After refueling, personally check all filler caps and access panels for security. Make sure hoses and earthing wires are wound back clear after use. When you sign or pay for the fuel, double-check the invoice for the correct type or grade of fuel and quantity. Jet A1 in a piston-engined aircraft has been discovered at this stage. Departure. Don't forget to pay landing and parking fees. Book out and/or let the tower know your departure intentions. And if going to or from certain UK islands, the Terrorism Act applies. Especially if you are non-radio, get the runway and altimeter setting details. There may be an aerodrome terminal information service available by telephone or on a dedicated frequency. Ask for and/or use an airfield map to study your likely taxi routes. Identify any possible areas for confusion or runway infringement. Always get the latest and best weather information, even if staying in the circuit. GetMet lists a variety of methods for obtaining this. Allow time to obtain recorded or faxed weather information. Thoroughly pre-flight the aircraft, making sure that no damage has occurred and that no birds have built a nest overnight. Don't forget the obvious things like pitot covers, tie-down blocks, external control locks, towing bar or baggage doors. Visually check that your fuel has not disappeared overnight. Always check fuel drains for water, etc., especially if parked outside in heavy rain. Water can get into the tank via worn filler cap seals. At some aerodromes you must obtain permission to start engines. Before startup, ensure that no one is near the propeller or rotors and that the brakes are on or the chocks are in place, particularly when hand swinging a propeller. If a marshaller is standing by for startup, give clear and unmistakable signals. Never start engines in a hangar, nor immediately in front of open doors. Don't use high power settings when a door is open or another aircraft is parked close behind in your slipstream. Switch on the red anti-collision beacon prior to starting the engine. Rule 47.3b of the Rules of the Air 2007. Do not cause dazzle with strobes. Do not taxi on the maneuvering area without agreement from the tower. If a controller or FISO is on duty, a taxi clearance is required. Write it down, and if in doubt about its meaning, ask for clarification. Do not taxi beyond the point to which you have been cleared. Although aircraft have right-of-way over vehicles on the maneuvering area, except those towing aircraft, if in doubt, stop until the way ahead is clear. When taxiing, don't just follow someone else. They might be wrong or have a different clearance. If you are given a departure clearance, write it down, read it back to the controller, and follow it when airborne. A departure clearance is not a permission to take off or even to enter the runway. Ensure the runway and approach are clear and that you have an appropriate clearance from the controller or FISO. Many pilots who have been cleared to line up have been known to take off without the necessary clearance. If in doubt, check. If your flight plan must be activated once airborne, ask for it. If returning to land at the aerodrome, don't assume it's the same runway as when you took off. The wind may have swung round. Miscellaneous. Don't leave chocks, tie-down ropes or weights where they might be struck by other aircraft. Don't drop litter or allow it to blow out of your aircraft. It could be ingested by the engines of other aircraft. Comply with aerodrome warnings and signs, for example, crash exit, keep clear. Do not smoke or allow others to smoke inside hangars or near aircraft, nor on aprons or maneuvering areas. Do not taxi onto a customs area unless you are clearing customs. If you note any obstructions, debris, potholes, etc. on the aerodrome, tell someone in authority at once. Summary. Before setting off, obtain aerodrome details including frequencies, reporting points, runway and taxi layout, operating hours, etc. If necessary, obtain permission by telephoning destination. Call the aerodrome in good time and be ready to follow joining procedures or reporting points. If no procedure is published, use the standard joining and circuit pattern. On arrival, make sure it is the correct runway and aerodrome. If you are uncertain of your taxiing route, stop and ask. Book in and close any flight plan. Supervise refueling yourself. You are responsible for the passenger's safety until they are in the clubroom or terminal. When departing, allow time to obtain weather information, file flight plan, book out, etc. Do not taxi or cross a holding position onto a runway without the required clearance. All aerodrome users bring happiness, some by arriving, others by departing. That's the end of the CAA Safety Sense Leaflet number 6, Aerodrome Sense. If you have any additional tips or experiences you would like to pass on, then please post a comment below. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified of the next video in this series. Please share this video within the general aviation community so that pilots and student pilots can benefit from the advice.